Angry parents contacting us this morning. Parents who have teenage girls who have had the cervical cancer vaccine or who are considering not having it. Parents who were affected basically by it, and they're reacting to the letter we got from that angry listener. One parent makes the point, we're not anti-vaccine. All we want is to get the HSE to meet the group who represents these girls and their families. They haven't been given the proper information. Staying with that, Ciara's on the line. Ciara Considine, who was listening to her interview on Monday with members of the Hollage family. Ciara, good morning to you.
Good morning, you're very welcome.
Well, what's your take on this? Some people are giving out, saying it's we're being very one-sided, not giving the HSE side, which is not the case. But what's your view on this?
Well, my own take, I suppose the reason you got in contact was I sent in a letter that I had sent to Minister Simon Harris about this matter, because I was quite taken aback by comments that he made on the weekend in relation to this vaccine, and particularly in relation to those who question its safety. The people who question its safety, as we know, are parents whose children became sick in the aftermath of it, and, children themselves, young women. So I was quite taken aback by the nature of the comments. They seemed to suggest a kind of almost siege mentality, and they're also being made by high-up professionals within the IMO. And I listened to the interview on your radio station with the Hollages, and, they are, to me, extremely courageous people. I have a deep sense of empathy and compassion for what they have gone through. And I found it hard to square that with the kind of language that our own Minister for Health is using in relation to people who have the view that this vaccine may not be safe for everyone. All right,
well, I'm sure, we know the Minister is well able to speak for himself, but maybe that's born out of a sense of frustration because the numbers... the uptake of the vaccine, as we know, has decreased dramatically, and they're at pains to point out the safety of this vaccine and the importance of it. And when they point to, the various regulatory bodies, scientific bodies who insist this vaccine is safe, the World Health Organization, Cervical Cancer Check in Ireland, Centres for Disease Control and Prevention in the US, there's a raft, is there not, of medical expertise to support the fact that this vaccine is safe. Would you accept that or not?
Well, I'm not a scientist and I'm not a medical expert. I'm just a mother whose daughter now would be of an age where she's eligible to get this vaccine. And I know a family locally through the school whose child became quite sick in the aftermath of it, and that prompted me to do a little bit of research into it myself, just beyond, say, the information that the HSE would be giving to parents. And in the course of that, I came across a complaint that's currently before the EU Ombudsman that was made from the Cochrane collaboration. Now, people wouldn't know this, but scientists and medics would know the Cochrane quite well, because they are considered to be a gold standard in independent evaluation of scientific research. And Cochrane, the Nordic, it's an international collaboration of experts within different fields, and the Nordic Cochrane made a complaint to the EMA, the European Medicines Agency, in relation to the HPV vaccine and its safety. And they were not fully satisfied with the response that they received from the agency, and they made a further complaint then, which is currently has been deemed admissible, which is before the EU Ombudsman, and which they haven't heard back about yet. And when I read that complaint and read the language that was used in it, which was very kind of clear-cut, I just was quite taken aback. It argues that the research upon which the EMA declared the vaccine safe was, quote, of such poor quality that its observations are virtually meaningless, unquote, and that as a consequence, the EMA is not respecting the right of EU citizens, quote, to know about the scientific uncertainties related to the safety of HPV vaccines. Now, that to me simply says that there may well be scientific uncertainties, and yet the language that has been appropriated around this in terms of our own regulator, the HSE, and now even our minister, suggests that there is no uncertainty. There's simply no question. Sorry, just to finish, we also know that no vaccine is 100% safe. So it is wrong.
Okay.
You know, parents do have a right to
all right. And you're
yeah.
faced with that dilemma, as you said, or you will be very, very shortly as a parent of a teenage girl. But you heard what the Irish Medical Organisation said at the weekend, the accusation of fake news, and we had the head of the HSE immunisation office with us on the programme in February saying there are scare stories out there, but there are no alternative facts. But you're saying there is a...
Sorry, they would have to answer that. That's why I wrote to the minister and I said to him, what do you make of this? You know, are we to take it that this is fake news, that the Cochrane has this complaint? You know, that's not fake news. I think that term is just being bandied about a little bit. I mean, I always look at this from the point of view, a very, very simple point of view of a parent's perspective. You know, these people who are so-called scaremongering, what is their agenda? Their agenda, their vested interest is only the health of their children, nothing more. And I really question, you know, when I hear this language, which to me sounds like victim blaming, when in fact, you know, they need to be being supported. These children need to be being properly investigated with no finger pointing at them. You know, every doctor has a duty to listen to their patient, you know, with an open mind, and to be sort of asking doctors almost, you know, come out fighting was the language that the minister used. You know, I just find that inappropriate and, you know, unsettling, I have to say.
All right. Ciara Considine, finally, thanks for joining us this morning.